Hi, everyone. This is really exciting. So many happy faces. We've met a few people who were like really looking forward to the talk. Really, we didn't imagine people would want to show up to the talk. We were having bets of how few people will be there, but really excited, really happy to see so many people. So very quickly, I'm Haresh Baraj. I'm the VP of Product Growth, and together with
Aiyana Moorhead. I'm the commercial lead for the international market expansion team at Pleo.
we are going to talk about how we are unlocking product-led growth at Pleo by bringing product managers and salespeople together. Um, this is a topic which is super exciting, something which is really close to our heart. You can see the excitement on our faces as well. So we are really looking forward to telling you a little bit about what we have been doing. Um, as you can imagine, I represent the product side of the equation, and my colleague Aiyana represents the commercial side of the equation. Before we get into it, very quick intros. I've been at Pleo for roughly 10 months. I head up all of our international expansion, and I also head up our largest revenue and customer segment. Before Pleo, I was with Klarna. I helped scale up their B2B business. I've always been in financial services and mostly in tech scale-ups.
Yep. Quickly about me, I have experience more in the startup commercial side with Nordic startups, mostly in marketing and sales. And now I've been at Pleo around 4 years in different roles in different markets. I'm right now leading international expansion on the commercial side. But just to set a tiny bit the scene, I'm not too sure if you guys actually have heard of Pleo before or you know what we do. So maybe just a quick show of hands. Has anyone or are you going to have to file an expense claim after you finish this event this week? If you do, maybe can you raise your hand? Okay, so you can position us. We essentially solve that space. We've been around for around 7 years. We're pan-European, and we just look to make the expense reporting process a lot easier and a lot better. So background context done. Let's now get into the actual presentation and questions. And the first question that we're going to start with, can sales reps and product managers get along? And can they actually ever really be best friends?
I guess we'll find out. I think in most organizations, there's a really healthy tension, at least the ones that we have been. On one side, there's the organization which is building the product offering. And on the other side, there's the set of the organization which is taking that offering to the market. So the marketing teams, sales, customer success, so on and so forth.
And we normally see that there's a bit of tension that develops here. And for us, that comes in two different ways, or comes from two different places. One, companies today tend to organize themselves across verticals. So marketing, customer success, engineering, product. And these verticals then turn into communication and work silos. And two, then a consequence to that, the different day-to-day goals to develop for the different teams, meaning that we're not running towards the same area. We're sort of going towards the things that we need to do in a day-to-day. And because of that, then a very natural tension emerges here.
So we're going to break the tension a little bit by telling you a few jokes. Full disclaimer, we are terrible at telling jokes, but we're going to take this on, see how it lands. Aiyana, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so some of the stereotypes that we have in product from the sales organization, condensed to a couple jokes here. Product deadlines are more flexible than a gymnast. Okay, I see some
Try
laughs.
one more.
No, last. Maybe we'll try another one. What's the best way to pay a product manager? American Express. They love taking credit for everything. There was one laugh there.
Not always true, but I think I can try a bit on how we look at the salespeople on the product side. So take a guess, how many salespeople does it take to change a light bulb? Well, no one really knows because they're not going to come to change the light bulb, but they're going to send someone from customer support to guide you through the process ASAP. Look, I think the thing that we are trying to do is this typifies most organizations, or at least the organizations that we have been part of. And we're going to take you on a couple of stories to tell you, I think, how we are breaking down some of this healthy tension that exists in organizations.
Yeah, so the first story that I want to tell you guys is one about trust by the way of empathy. This is my colleague, Paulius. Today, he's a product director at a really exciting new startup. But back when we were working together at Pleo, Paulius had a mission. He wanted to get a lot closer to his customers. So he embarked upon a 2-week project where he sat in around 50 customer calls and sales calls. Paulius, at the end of this project, was super happy because he felt he really understood what customers were really missing and what are the pains that they're trying to solve. But on the side of this, something very interesting happened. He also witnessed the commercial team, sales and customer success, a lot of their issues and a lot of their pains, because they were presenting the product, they were distributing the product, and they were going through these motions over and over again. So at the end of this, Paulius was sort of in a very unique position because there was one problem he was trying to solve, but that problem, he was just looking at it from one angle, when in reality, the problem is a lot more holistic. So the change he was able to make was threefold, because he's not just solving something for our customers, but also for his internal colleagues. So I think you can call and you can refer to product managers with a lot of different names or in different ways. You know, the CEO of your own product, the fixer, the shipper, the shit umbrella. But when we think about it, and what really makes sense to us is that the purpose of this should be derived by employing and having empathy for all the stakeholders that are related to your product. It's not just about the customer or the end user. It truly is about everyone that's interacting there. So the moral of this story, when we first now look at the whole topic, you need to break down these artificial barriers that we've created with these silos to then proactively engage in empathy that then allows trust to bubble out to the service. And that is when you really can unlock a lot of potential that wasn't there before.
Going from speaking about a great product manager, I'm going to speak about one of our excellent salespeople, or at least ex-salespeople. Here's Philip. Philip has been one of our star performers in the Swedish sales team. I think in most of his interactions with the customer, he kept bumping into the same problem that the customers were articulating, which is they wanted like a very simple budgeting feature. I think in Sweden, there's something called as friskvad, where companies give you like a small budget to spend on being active and focusing on your health. So think about the gym subscription, or going for a yoga class, or going for a sports lesson. And he kept working with the product teams to actually get this delivered, but nothing got delivered because it's such a local, tiny feature that most of the product teams didn't care about it. So what he did in true Pleo fashion, he rolled up his sleeves, learned how to prototype. He built a prototype, went across the organization, I think spoke to 60 different people internally, got a lot of feedback in, worked iteratively on the prototype. And I think when we saw this happening in front of our eyes, we were like, oh, this is really amazing. We built a really small team around him, gave him a couple of engineers, and then he delivered the feature, which is being massively well received, not just in the Swedish market, but I think some of the other relevant markets as well. And now what Philip is doing, he has become a full-time product manager, and he's now opening markets for us. He very recently launched Finland for us. And I think the whole goal of the story is we've brought product and commercial people together, gave them very clear, but I think aligned targets, and now they're running on it together, be it the commercial sales target or even opening new markets. We then took this to the next level. I think Pleo has grown from 140 people in 2020, roughly, to 800 people right now. That's a really fast growth. And we took this learning, and I think we put that in the entire structure of the organization. So what we have done, as Aiyana was mentioning, previously we were organized in vertical silos: marketing, sales, customer success, product, each one trying to run their own little battle. And we said, hey, you know what? We're going to abolish all of that. We identified clear customer problems and kind of brought the right relevant peoples working towards that customer problem. So a customer problem could be opening a new market, or opening 15 new markets, right? And then we brought cross-functional teams, made sure that the decision-making was decentralized right down to the team level. That enabled a lot of collaboration, but what that also did, people who are the closest to the customers felt super empowered, because imagine an organization of 800 people. you can't imagine 6, 7, 8 very senior people making all the decisions. It's almost impossible. It's almost wrong in a way, right? And we push down decision making down to the lowest level, the most important level, which is the team level. And the team is the single most important factor right now in the way we do everything.
Great. So we've talked about now sort of two very specific cases, but if we take a step back and we look a bit more at the macro level of what we've been able to do at our company and the impact that this has had, it's pretty astonishing. So in the last year and a half, we've launched product-led European market expansion, so product-led growth. That means that initially we had launched, or previously we had launched about 6 countries in 6 years. What we were able to do in 5 months is essentially launch 7 more. Like, if you think about efficiency gains, like that is pretty impressive. Well, we like to think so anyway. In terms of another really interesting trend, if you think about our SMB customer segment, which has a pretty big chunk of initially our revenue, so any decision we make is pretty big and it has a pretty big consequence to the company. Initially, all of our customers were dependent on having a conversation with a sales rep and was a bit blocked from progressing in their journey if we did not have the capacity to support that. What we've also now been able to do is essentially develop a totally self-serve process, meaning that customers are not blocked in any sort of way. So we've gone from 0 customers being able to self-serve and onboard themselves to now absolutely all of them. And these 2 case studies that we look at are just symbolic to the bigger trends that we've been able to see. So if we think about now, the bigger picture here of the why is pretty clear. The impact we've been able to have is enormous in our opinion. If then we think about the how, we also have some very clear recommendations. So 1, break down the barriers to build trust and make sure that you don't just have empathy for your customers, but you also have empathies for your colleagues. Because if you don't sort out the relational level, the business won't work. And that's fundamental. 2, create structures that enable collaboration. And by that, we mean having shared goals is a must. Because if not, you have everyone running essentially in different directions. And when you do those 2 things, you're able then to delegate and distribute a lot of the day-to-day decision-making to the team. And the team then is able to execute, implement, and decide a lot faster than, the senior executive is a company of 800 people, which then makes things very, very slow. So with that, that's the end. We hope that you enjoyed your talk. I know that we have about 2 minutes left. So if there are any questions from anyone in the crowd, we can take them now, or...
We can take at least 2 questions, maybe.
So are those teams squads, and how big is a squad, and what's the right size for that?
Yeah, exactly. It's organized like squads. We try to ensure that a team doesn't go beyond 8 or 10 people. I think it's a very simple 2 pizza principle. If you can feed a team with 2 pizzas, then that's the right size.
Thank you. So, questions about your service. How you solve the problem of allowing key members in the team to spend or to pay to different services or collaboration without to each time go through the financial department and request them to do the payments?
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's about sort of delegating spend and having trust in your employees to be able to do that. Well, we've seen a lot that a lot of these questions don't come down so much to control. It's not about blocking things. It's about you need to create a system where you have a sense of understanding of what's happening, and we can achieve that through transparency. So rather than having an approval process where you need to approve 99% of expenses that you know it's going to happen, why not create a framework where everyone agrees and understands this is appropriate, this is not appropriate, and then essentially allow people to be able to operate within that environment. And in the end, this is the team that you've hired. There's got to be a degree of trust there. But also, it's within the limits, and then you having that real-time information should give you the overview that you need to understand where your money is going with your business and all of that.